Good evening there, everybody. What is happening? Hopefully, y'all are having a wonderful day today. So, I thought that I would talk about the Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou rematch. A prediction that I actually got wrong on this fight card. I thought I had a better opportunity to have a more positive record. Unfortunately, one of the fights got canceled. That was Alexander Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega. So I predicted the other four fights that were mainly going to be on the card. I got Malarkey versus Worthy right. I got Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida right. The two ones that I did get wrong were Vicente Luque versus Tyron Woodley and Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic in the rematch. Now, I did predict Stipe Miocic to win, and let me just congratulate Francis Ngannou on becoming the most recent new heavyweight champion of the world. He beat, in my opinion, probably the greatest UFC heavyweight in their history. So when it comes down to it, he certainly deserves a lot of credit. To me, it's a little bit unfortunate that Stipe was not able to pull out of it because, in my opinion, Stipe Miocic would have been able to give John Jones the best possible fight when it came down to it. But after looking at this, and that's not me saying I want John Jones to lose, but what that is me saying is that if there is a heavyweight that probably would have more likely given John Jones a struggle, it probably would have been Stipe Miocic. But after looking at this, I'm not so sure about that. Because when taking a look at it, Francis Ngannou was able to take advantage of some of Stipe Miocic's disadvantages, some of them that he has. One of them being that he does not have very elite head movement. And on top of that, let me tell you this. Francis Ngannou, I knew was going to be more patient in this fight. But I didn't know overall he was going to be as accurate as he was. Francis nearly landed every damn strike that he threw in that fight. And he was very good in the first round. Nearly stopped Stipe in the first round. Second round, caught him with a couple of hits. Stipe caught him back. That is one thing about Francis Ngannou, is that he is catchable, he is hittable. But the thing is about Francis Ngannou is that, he doesn't necessarily have to worry about that like some of the other fighters because he does not have, he has a pretty solid chin. Francis Ngannou might actually have the most solid chin that I've seen out of any UFC heavyweight, really out of any UFC fighter that I've seen as of recent. Francis Ngannou can take a hell of a shot. So that's what I'll say there. Let me tell you this, in turn of who is the greater striker. Now, I said before this fight that I believe Stipe is even the greater striker than Francis Ngannou. And in certain, areas he might be. He did not look like the greater striker in this match. Francis Ngannou looked more patient in this fight. He looked like the greater striker in this fight. So Francis Ngannou is not just this one-dimensional fighter. And let me also tell you this. As soon as I seen that takedown not land by Stipe, I knew that Stipe overall was going to have to try and strike with Ngannou. He was not going to just be able to stare at him, but he was also going to have to make sure not to get hit. And with Francis Ngannou, we know it can just take one shot. So it is what it is. So it is what it is. But very good performance by Francis Ngannou. I was very much impressed when it comes down to it. So it is what it is. There was one of my friends texting me about it. But anyways, when it comes down to it, very good performance by Ngannou. And let me also say this. I did not expect him to conserve. Once again, I did not expect him to be that accurate. So I said if he was conserving his stamina, that still might be a problem because Stipe Miocic still might be able to outland him. Well, Stipe was not able to outland him at all because every shot that Ngannou was basically throwing was in threatening range of landing. Stipe was so afraid overall basically to get in there and to get countered by Ngannou. So it is what it is. But when it comes down to it, the question is now, what is down the road for these fighters? And I see some people overall saying that they hope Stipe Miocic gets a rematch against Ngannou. He's not going to get a rematch against Ngannou. That's not going to happen. And to be honest, I don't think Stipe would win a rematch against Ngannou. Because Ngannou, and we can make all the excuses in the world. Do I believe that, Stipe is still the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time? Yes, I do, with his accomplishments, with his talent, and a certain amount of other things. But I'm not sure if Stipe Miocic, even at his best, can defeat a Francis Ngannou like this. And to be honest with you, let me tell you this, because even though I said that I thought Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic was the best possible matchup, I'm not sure if Jon Jones beats this Francis Ngannou. Jon Jones can try to bulk up all he wants to, but the thing is with Jon Jones, he's a little bit hittable as well, and he can be hurt. So we'll see overall what happens. And Ngannou, it only takes one shot. And with this Ngannou, I like his attacks. He attacks the legs decently well, and on top of that, he seems to be very accurate, very poised. He seems to conserve his stamina. Now the question is, overall, if Jon Jones is able to survive outside of 2 rounds against Ngannou, is Ngannou overall going to be able to have this stamina or conserve his stamina to the point to where he can continue his attacks like that? He was not as wild overall with his attacks as he was in the first Stipe Miocic fight. So we'll see what happens. But when it comes down to it, it'll be very, very interesting. But anyways, that's really about it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Congratulations to the new heavyweight champion of the world, Francis Ngannou. Very much deserved. As for Stipe Miocic, I think it pretty much is time for him to retire. I don't even think that he should take the 3rd Francis Ngannou fight, even if he wanted to. Because to be honest with you, it's only going to hurt his legacy, because I don't see Stipe Miocic beating Francis Ngannou in a rematch. But we'll see what happens. Why not retire right now when you're still going to be remembered as the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time? But we'll see what Stipe Miocic does. It's going to be very interesting. So that's really about it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully y'all have a wonderful day. And one more thing when it comes to Francis Ngannou. Unless Jon Jones can beat Francis Ngannou, I don't see another heavyweight, besides possibly Stipe if he were to return, that would beat Francis Ngannou in a match. To be honest with you, there's not any other heavyweight that would beat Francis Ngannou in a match. Maybe if Daniel Cormier were to come back. But besides those 2 fighters, or 3 fighters, because, you enter Jon Jones into that conversation, if Francis Ngannou beats Jon Jones, I don't see any other heavyweight that's going to be able to stop Francis Ngannou. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, that's really about it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all later.